Donald Trump is now demanding that there be an investigation into his own vice president, Mike Pence. And of course, this follows Mike Pence's decision to not follow through with what Trump was demanding, him overturning the election, something that he didn't even have the power to do. Now, Trump made this suggestion in a recent statement, which he released through his Save America PAC. He said, quote, "The unselect committee," he's talking about the committee investigating January 6th, "should be investigating why Nancy Pelosi did such a poor job of overseeing security and why Mike Pence did not send back the votes for recertification or approval, in that it has now been shown that he clearly had the right to do so." He's just saying it out loud. He is just transparent. I wanted my vice president to go against the will of American voters, to do away with our democratic process and just hand me the election. And he didn't do it, and I want him to be investigated for it.
So, look, I'm gonna say-
He's just saying it.
No, I know. This has gotta be jumping the shark. Please, Republican voters, have you no sense at all?
They don't care.
So look, the other day we covered when he said he wanted the election overturned. He literally said it. Now, a lot of people are surprised by that. I don't know why they're surprised. That's what he's been saying all along, right? But the press made kind of a big deal of him saying the literal words, "I wanted the election overturned." Now, of course, if you challenge Trump or his supporters on that, they'll be like, "Oh, overturned to get to the real results." Right? Okay, whatever. Okay, we all know that he didn't like that Biden won, and he's a crybaby over it, etc. And wanted to do a coup. That's not just crybaby stuff. That's deeply criminal. But in this case, the reason why I think it's jumping the shark is he's saying the committee that's investigating the break-in at the Capitol, the riots at the Capitol, the attempts to basically overthrow our system of government, should look into my vice president for not overthrowing it well enough.
Right.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And that follows his rally speech in Conroe, Texas, where he dangled the possibility of pardoning Capitol rioters if he wins as president in 2024. He's planning on running again.
And Anna, the connective tissue there is the rioters were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," as they went in. So he's saying the guys that were looking to murder my this is literal, guys. The guys who were looking to murder my vice president should be let off, but my vice president should be investigated for not overturning the will of the American people and making me not just president, at that point it would be dictator.
And let's just remind you all of that chant, because the rioters were clear about what their intentions were. Let's watch.
Historic day.
Yeah, hang Mike Pence, and then you hear someone in the background saying historic day.
Yeah.
Those are the people that Trump wants pardoned while he wants an investigation into Mike Pence refusing to overturn the election results. It's insane.
We show you that video because there's so much disinformation in the world now that I guarantee if we told Republicans, no, they were looking to murder Mike Pence, they would say, "Oh, that's no way, man." No, they were just gonna give him a bear hug. No, they were chanting, "Let's murder the vice president." That's Trump's, that's not Biden's vice president, that's Trump's vice president. And Trump is now saying, let those guys go and go get that son of a bitch vice president of mine.
Yeah.
If you're a Republican, are there no bounds? Are there no bounds?
So I actually want to respond to that as someone who's not a Republican, but who, look, I think that there are two possibilities, right? One possibility is more likely. The first possibility, which I think is less likely, is that all of these Republican voters who support Trump know that Trump is lying and they don't care, and they're just pushing for what Trump wants anyway. There might be some in that group, but I think the bigger problem and the more likely issue here is that they genuinely believe that the election was riddled with fraud and that Trump had the election stolen from him. And I know that many of them believe that because that's what they hear over and over again in the media they consume, in the filter bubbles they exist in. So look, Tucker Carlson is one of the main people who keeps perpetuating these lies. And they trust him. They consume his content. They believe in him. They think he's credible. And so, yes, they genuinely think the election was stolen from Donald Trump. It is insane.
No, I know that, but that's why I'm asking them, do you also think it was okay to try to hang Mike Pence? Because Trump says it was okay. We should pardon all those guys you just saw with your own eyes chanting about murdering your vice president, right? Is that okay to let those guys go? And is it okay to then go and investigate and potentially arrest the vice president for not rigging an election? Guys, the vice president has no role. It's ceremonial. That is a fact. Please look it up, read the Constitution, read anything you want. Stop listening to right-wing media. They're poison. They're lying to you through and through. You could actually see the actual documents and see that it isn't true.
Right.
So now Trump is saying, I want him for not doing a coup. Instead of doing a ceremonial role, I wanted him to pretend that I won. We had fake electors ready to go.
Yep.
The fake electors were gonna come in and pretend I won. Are you okay with all of that? If you are, you hate this country. You hate a democracy and you say, my power over liberals and other people are more important than America. Okay, then own it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of them do see the rioters as patriots. I mean, we've seen poll after poll. It's not just one, it's not just two. We've seen several polls at this point that show a significant portion of Trump supporters believe that they should carry out political violence to take the country back. And this is an example of them needing to take the country back in their minds. But there's more to this story. In a recent New York Times report, we've also learned that Trump was looking to take control of voting machines. So 6 weeks after Election Day, Trump directed his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, to ask the Department of Homeland Security if it could legally take control of voting machines in key swing states. Three people familiar with the matter said. Giuliani actually did so, calling the department's acting deputy secretary, who said he lacked the authority to audit or impound the machines. Then Trump pressed Giuliani to make that inquiry after rejecting a separate effort by his outside advisors to have the Pentagon take control of the machines. And the outreach to the Department of Homeland Security came not long after Trump, in an Oval Office meeting with Attorney General William Barr, raised the possibility of whether the Justice Department could seize the machines, a previously undisclosed suggestion that Barr immediately shot down. And remember, William Barr is not some lib. William Barr enabled much of Trump's bad behavior, including completely misinterpreting the Mueller report on behalf of Donald Trump. So for William Barr to put his foot down makes it abundantly clear what Trump was first calling to do and how insane it was, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, so again, if you're a right wing or a Republican, you can tell we're right based on these couple of things. Seizing the voting machines. If Trump says it, you think it's a good idea? Okay, then think about this. What if after the next election, Biden says, I didn't lose. All those states are saying, Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin are saying I lost. And they did 3 different recounts, a hand recount, they did an audit. I don't care, I'm seizing their machines.
It's crazy.
And if Biden seizes their voting machines, then says, oh, I had my guys do a recount and it turns out I won. Well, what are you gonna do about it then? Well, then you'd say, oh my God, a tyrant has taken over. That's what Trump was doing. That's literally what he was doing. You cannot have the president who's involved in the election seize the voting machines. That's what dictators do. That's insane. Do you understand anything about this country? They always talk about how much they love this country. Do you? Do you? Because if you love America, you would never be in favor of that. That's the exact opposite of what we believe in. And then finally on William Barr. Look, McConnell was asked about Trump's statements and he said, no, there should be no lessening of punishment for the January 6th rioters. So a number of Republicans are now, as we've documented throughout for you guys, have begun to turn on Trump again, okay? And are saying, no, we can't have this lunatic running around. Now, they have their own reasons, you could be mad at them and they're not good guys, etc. But on this one, they are correct. But the most important thing is, are they going to actually stand up, and is that going to create real political trouble for Trump? And William Barr is going to testify, it looks like, in front of the January 6th committee. Now, Trump is attacking him as well after everything that Barr did for him. So if Barr flips on him, which is now possible, because he couldn't have kissed Trump's ass anymore. He couldn't have done he did everything that was asked of him, and some things that were potentially even beyond the law, okay? And so if Barr comes up and says, you know who I am, I'm pretty much Darth Vader, and I'm telling you, Trump did it, okay? Well, then he might actually be in trouble, but that's a big if.
And by the way, Vice President Mike Pence's chief of staff, Mark Short, quietly began cooperating with the investigators. So he's been testifying behind the scenes. And so I'm guessing a lot of what we're learning now about what was taking place behind the scenes with the Trump administration is coming out as a result of the cooperation that's taking place. So we'll see how this all plays out. But the final thing to keep in mind is, will this committee and will the Justice Department actually carry out any real consequences for the players here? Right? The people who were in positions of power, who enabled Trump's bad behavior, who carried out Trump's demands. Will there be any consequences for Trump himself? Doubt it. So Trump, Giuliani, Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, they've all bragged about how they were doing this attempt that is by all intents and purposes a coup attempt. And so last thing is, please double Mike Pence's Secret Service detail. I'm not joking. I got no love for the guy politically at all. But the way that Trump is constantly egging people on about Mike Pence, there's an excellent chance somebody's going to try to kill him. And so the Secret Service should be really, really careful. They chanted to kill him because they intended to kill him. Take it seriously. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.